This is the Variety Sports Network, created for the fans, by the fans. Now to your host of tonight's show.
And welcome to another episode of the Double Double Podcast here with you on a Friday night. A little later here than we did the last couple of weeks. Back to our prime time edition here. I'm your host, Daren Breyer, along with my co-host here, Doug Stevens, out in Cleveland. Doug, we got a lot to get in tonight. We're going to get to some of the games tonight. A lot of blowouts tonight so far in some of our matchups.
Some big scores tonight.
Still got some late games we'll check into. We got the Lakers, Grizzlies game we'll check into. Warriors, Pistons. We'll get into that as well. And then we'll also get the Kings are playing tonight tonight against the Raptors too. So we'll check in on some of those games live as we go through the show. But good show to you. Good show on tap for you this week. A lot of stuff to get into. We can do a little Victor talk versus the Freak. I want to get into that as well. But Doug, how you doing? How's your opening tip here? How you doing? How was your week? Things around the NBA you saw. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back with you this week. Things that we're obviously going to touch on that I've been noticing. Trouble in LA, as usual. There's questions on coaching, questions on rotations. Is the play-in tournament too taxing on the season?
Oh my God!
Also, your Grizzlies keeping the win-loss record.
I have some thoughts on my Grizzlies a little bit. I'm a little worried about them right now. Hey. If I have any Grizzlies, I'm a little worried. I was thinking a little bit more confidently when they got Morant back, but they still have some rebounding issues. They don't have Clark or Adams, and so maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. I am starting to get a little worried about them. 5-seed Grizzlies, as I call them. My 5-seed Grizzlies. That's why.
So how about this to open the show? Let me ask you: if the Cavaliers played the Wizards 82 times, how many times do you think we beat them this year?
I think you guys would beat them 60 times.
See, I went to an extreme. I said 76-6. Those guys suck.
They do suck.
I'm sorry. Sorry to all those Wizards fans out there who aren't my buddies.
You guys are crushing tonight. I mean, how about the Pacers? They beat the Hawks 150
tonight.
That's the second time, right? They dropped 150 on them this year. I know the other one might have been in overtime, but I think that's the second time they dropped 150.
It's the second time. I got to tell you, Daren, I'm done hearing about Trey Young right now.
So Halliburton has surpassed him as the starting point guard in the East, right?
To me, he has. But
I mean, he's got to, right? Halliburton's got 85 assists and 6 turnovers the last
question for you. Does Trey's numbers matter to you when they always happen in a loss? Like, are they as important to you when they happen?
No, they don't matter as much when they're in a loss. Of course not. But is it time for him to move on from Atlanta? Maybe as we kind of move forward here a little bit, or is Atlanta not supporting him enough with the right players? Like, they've had decent picks that they could have had, that could have helped them along the way. I think it's interesting this week as we get into All-Star picks. Is Halliburton as he surpassed, because Young has been automatic the last few years of starting, right? Yeah. Does Halliburton pass him?
Yeah. Now that voting started.
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think Trey Young. I mean, his numbers are still fantastic. Tonight he was abysmal. 4 of 18, 1 of 11 from 3.
It was awful.
Just wild. Plus minus is always a hit or miss stat. But minus 28 tonight led the team in minus. Everybody wants to post Trey Young's stats. And then they don't show you if they won or lost the game for a reason.
It's because he's with Atlanta and he's with a franchise that doesn't.
But Atlanta's been good. I don't even.
They don't matter in the NBA grand scheme of things. Like, in terms of like people's passion towards him. If he was in like New York or something like that, and they have that record, they'd be like, this guy's a loser. He's good, but he doesn't get stats.
I think
that's how it'd be.
I would probably like him more if he was in New York. I think that would fit his personality and his game better.
Well, maybe he'll end up on a team here in a little bit here as we get to the trade deadline here. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. We can touch on that. Hey, talk about teams that I'm not happy with. How about my Warriors? Warriors.
Let's get it out there. Let's get it out there right now.
Oh my gosh. Let's get it out there. Oh, what's up, fellas? I thought Trey Young was the next Steph Curry out of OU. My guy, Aaron, out there, that's my sports. Appreciate you tuning in, as always, here Friday night out here on the East Coast. A Knicks guy. Obviously there, so we'll get to the Knicks here a little bit as well. I got some thoughts on OG about it, but I thought a lot of people did think he was going to be Steph, but he never had Steph's shot. Like, I mean, as good as he is a shooter, he never.
But the best part about it is Steph doesn't have to pound the ball into the floor. Steph is willing to go off ball. He's willing to run off of screens. He's willing to do other things to help the team win. He doesn't have to have the ball every second of every game to be
that's Trae Young.
Great. Trae Young at OU pounded the ball into the floor, and he still does it today. He doesn't do what Steph does. If he would take some time off from just dribbling and work on his game and do what Steph did, sure, I think he could be a lot better. But
the days where Oklahoma had good college players back in the day, where all the time they're fielding them out there back there, Oklahoma. Oh no, I'm a Houston Rock. Oh, okay, you're fans. All right, so
you remember those old?
Yeah. Oh, I showed that. Did you see that stupid video I posted today about when Jokic hit that shot last night against the Warriors? As we'll get into those, he hit that 39-footer bank shot. The Rockets. Speaking of your Rockets, like literally, this is like what. It's funny how you as a kid you remember. You just have memories that stick with you sports wise. I just remember listening to this Warriors game on the radio. Moochie Norris banks it in, and the Warriors lose to the Rock. I was like, Moochie Norris. I remember thinking that as like a 16-year-old kid. I was like, and then I posted that today on Twitter. I got a few good reactions.
Your like way back when type videos have been awesome lately. Like
I appreciate
you've been killing it. Question.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the navy blue with the Rocket logo, like the actual Rocket? What are your thoughts on those jerseys?
I'm not a big of the cartoon guy.
You didn't like it?
No.
I don't know why. I don't know why. Those did it for me though. I always liked the Houston jerseys.
I always say I like to do look backs and stuff. Our very first episode, if you go to my channel, is a look back. It's my brother we did like look backs of games. My brother picked it. It was like. I think it was 1999 Lakers at Rockets game 1 or something. It was actually a good game, but we talked about the uniforms in the podcast.
Which were they wearing those Rocket ones?
Yep, they were. I think Shaq blocks a rookie Catino Mobley to win the game at the end of the game, but it was good stuff there. So yeah, it was fun kind of looking at that. Lakers Woes though. Like I said, I posted that picture of Moochie banking that shot in because that's what that made me think of. When I saw him banking that from 39 feet. But that's not the story. Blowing an 18-point lead. And before I get to the Lakers part, because I have some other thoughts of the Lakers, if we just stick to the Warriors for a second, I know Kerr's taking a lot of heat right now, and he should. His rotations really have been inconsistent all year long. Like, even at the end of the games, not really having a feel for who's playing well and keeping that player in. It's kind of like, well, this guy was playing well, so I'm going to keep him in. Like, he's been like, well, a couple times he's been like, well, Wiggins has been playing well, so we're keeping him in. But how about the time you brought Wiggins in for Moody when he was playing well? Like, I feel like he's just been way more inconsistent, and I think because Kerr, he's always believed this way, and it was really good for the Warriors when they were a great team. Is he's a guy that believes in 10 guys playing because it gives everybody a feel for like we're part of the game. But if you're not a superstar team and you have young guys, playing 10 guys isn't really necessarily the way to go. Right. And so I feel like he's had a hard time with that adaptation, and he really just hasn't let Kuminga and Moody free all the time. And it really has held back some of their development. And as a Warriors fan, last night's game is just a reflection of how this whole season is. They're not a contender without a trade. No. They're like I said, they're a lucky first round win team. Like, and that's like, they have Curry, so like I'm always going to give them just a shot to pull out a series, but I'm not giving them a good shot if it's a specific team. You know what I mean? Like if they're playing like the Nuggets in the first round, they have no shot of beating them. But you get my point. Like if they have there's a small margin. Let's say they play Dallas or something. Maybe I would give them like a 5% chance to beat them in like a series like that. But
too.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my point. It would have to be lucky this year to get a point. So I don't know. You guys agree with Gil saying Rui Reddish and D'Lo leaving is in trash? I don't know. We'll see. I think the Lakers there. We'll get to the Lakers here just a little bit more.
Well, we'll talk about let me ask you about the Warriors for a second.
The Warriors. We go with Kerr as he's taking shots with it. He's taking a lot of heat right now. And go ahead. So
we're hearing the rumblings that Draymond's working his way back into shape. He's coming back soon. Give me your Warriors. 100% of the roster health. The roster's healthy. Give me your Warriors starting five with what they have right now that you want to see.
For me, the lineup I've been saying I want to see Curry out there, obviously, right? I want to see. I think for right now we can keep Clay out there. That's fine. I think Kuminga should be out there. Looney needs to be out there, and Wiggins needs to be out there. That should be the starting lineup. You just roll with that, and we bring Green off the bench. I want Green off the bench because I feel like I want Clay off the bench too, but I don't think Clay's ready for that role yet, and that's a whole different subject. I think that's part of their issues too, is he's not ready to accept that. Like they're not the same player, but Carmelo was the same way. He couldn't accept coming off the bench, and I'm like Clay has to accept that, and so does Draymond. Imagine Draymond coming off the bench for the Warriors, where he watches the first 10 minutes, gets a feel for the game, like, and kind of gets and you know what I mean. Doesn't have to have that stress of right away, like. I don't know. I think it would be a good at this point in their careers. Maybe the contracts don't equal that, but I think it's the best thing for the team at this point.
So second unit, is it Paul, Pods, Mooney, Green, Sarge is your second unit then?
Yeah, and maybe you could play Pods, and Pods maybe you could start over Wiggins at this point. Wiggins playing so
that's
bad.
What I'm trying to figure out is if.
I still think Wiggins starts overall. I think you just roll the dice with Wiggins and Kuminga starting. The problem is when they've started, the numbers aren't great, but I think, or when they've been on the floor, it's not great. But I think that's the way you go with it. I think you just start with. I think you just kind of roll with that, and you bring your Green off the bench. I want to see Green off the bench, and if not, I would. In an ideal world, I would like to almost see Clay off the bench and probably Pod starting. Instead of or maybe Moody, but I think I'd rather see Pod starting. But Moody's got to get more minutes too.
I mean, just going off the stats, this doesn't really paint the full picture. Moody's getting 18 minutes a game right now.
Yeah.
Not shooting the three ball as well as you probably hope at 33%. But I don't know if 18 minutes for a young guy is going to get them in that flow as well as they could be. Do you think Moody or Kuminga gets moved at the deadline? I don't know. Do you really want to give away Kuminga? Because he really has flashes, and it looks like he has potential. I mean, I don't know if I want to get rid of that guy.
I wasted an hour of my life that I can't get back using the trade machine with Kuminga today.
That's awesome.
And he get trapped into that rabbit hole.
Yes.
And there was a few of them I like. The only ones I thought were realistic and maybe I liked was I think I posted it with Siakam. They get Siakam, and they probably would get somebody else in the trade too. Grady Dick would be like maybe the next guy, but maybe it's somebody else. Like they wouldn't be a great player. Siakam would be the main guy. They would have to trade Wiggins, Kuminga, and Payton in that deal for that to happen. The other one I don't think the Nets would do it, but it would be ideal for the Warriors, I think, because they would get sides too in the deal, as they would trade again Kuminga, Wiggins, Payton. And you can even throw Moody in there if you want it, if they wanted it. But you get back Bridges and you get back Claxton, who's on a 1-year deal, which gives them the size and that small forward.
If you could get Bridges somehow, that'd be crazy.
I'm just saying, like that. If you look at the contract, I mean, the Nets would be getting back 4 players for it, and they get Kuminga, and Claxton's on a 1-year deal. Are they going to sign him again next year? We'll see what happens there with it. But that would be the one for me, the Warriors. That I'm just curious what they do, because at this point, Doug, they are not. I mean, they're no more than a 9 or 10 seed right now. They just don't. They're not consistent right now.
I mean, based on right this second, you guys are out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
and we talked about this last week. You've got the Grizzlies coming up from behind. I know it's going to take a lot for them to get back in the mix. You guys are 5 games ahead of them. You're a half game behind the Lakers, a game and a half behind the Rockets. It's a loaded back end of the West. I mean. Yeah. Something's got to change it, but I think Siakam's really the only game-changing player you could realistically get right now. And from what I read earlier, you guys weren't in the conversation for him. It was Kings. It was Kings and
I heard the Kings are out right before.
The Kings are out. It was the Kings and somebody else. Who I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, but that could all change. We still got a lot of ways to go. I still think Siakam. I think there's a lot of places he goes. The Warriors are a big opportunity with Barrett possibly there. I mean, as we kind of go to the Lakers, is there a chance LeBron goes to the Warriors? We'll trade you Kuminga. We'll get you Wiggins. We get LeBron. Curry goes.
Would you do that and be happy? I mean, I think it'd be a good move.
At this point, it really doesn't matter. You might as well. I mean, I feel like the bird. At this point, there's no rivalry in that sense. They've all kind of gone.
It's not Cleveland anymore.
Lovey in my aspect, anyways. But like the Lakers at this point, like it always with LeBron, it always comes back to the coaches too. But it'd be interesting if the Warriors and Lakers ever did a trade for LeBron. There's no way, but could you imagine?
It'd be awesome.
LeBron to the Warriors, they get Kuminga. The Lakers get Kuminga. I can't even imagine they get Kuminga, Wiggins, a LeBron trade. Curry. LeBron's probably the only guy that can like control Draymond. Yeah, he's probably the only guy.
It would help. It would help on two fronts. I mean, exactly. Question for you is: if Ham gets fired, does Doc replace him?
How do you fire a guy that won the in-season tournament, Doug? It's just so unnecessary.
Whoa, man. How does the guy win the in-season tournament but not have his guys prepared for the rest of the season?
That's what I was saying. That's just 32 and 52. Yeah, but I won the in-season tournament. How can you?
I mean, but seriously, do you think Doc comes in and replaces him if they fire him?
Man, do you think Doc gets the respect of LeBron?
I would hope so, man. They had some battles, and they went back and forth for a long time against each other. And
it always feels like he needs a coach that he could just kind of tell what to do a little bit too.
You know what the Lakers really missed on is Ty Lue. They could have had Ty Lue, and LeBron didn't go for it. Ty Lue's probably the best 5 coaches in the league.
I mean, are we really firing Ham after 1 season and a half? I mean, is that what we're really doing?
He stinks, man.
I know the rotations people have been complaining about that. And I've watched them. They haven't been. And the thing with LeBron on the Lakers too is I was looking up some of their stats is they've never had a good offense with him really. Like it's always been like I think the year they won the championship they were like 10th, but most of the time they're like 15th or lower. And before that they were always like top 7. Like because usually if you have LeBron, and I understand he's getting older and stuff like that, but right now we would still take him as probably a top 12 player. So it's still kind of shocking that their offense is so bad. It's not consistent. Like, I mean, isn't the recipe just get shooters around them?
Let me pose this question back to you. Has D'Angelo Russell ever been on a good offense?
That is Ohio State, maybe? I don't know.
He was good at Ohio State. I'll give you that. But
that's his only good offense.
I mean, the shooting around him, though, LeBron can't be your leading shooter. Like he's shooting 39.
No,
he can't be your best 3-point shooter. I mean, he's
shooting
like very well.
Trade. Like if he got traded though, to the Warriors or like what's another team like he'd be a fun trade. Like what if he went to the Sixers somehow? Like Tobias Harris ends up.
He went to the Cavs and we didn't have to give up anybody.
Or back to the Cavs. Oh, that wouldn't be bad.
If we could keep Garland, Mitchell.
No, I mean you'd have to keep Mitchell, of course, but maybe Garland goes in the trade. But you'd have to.
I don't know.
You have to that would be fun. I don't think LeBron's going anywhere, but it'd be fun to see. So who do you think? Like I posed the question here: do the Warriors and Lakers need to fire both Kerr and Ham for either team to get in contenders? So that doesn't mean that it's better for the Warriors long term. It doesn't mean it's better for the Lakers long term. I'm just saying, just for this season, does it look like both teams need a coaching change, or is this just a reflection more of the?
I think the Lakers need one more than the Warriors. I guess I just have more faith in Steve Kerr at this point. And I also, I mean, like I said, I think you could go and get Doc for an interim season.
So you like that idea of Doc to the Lakers? Let's go.
I'm just trying. I don't. Who else is there? That's what I mean. Is though, who else is there? I mean, what are we doing here, LeBron? This is a yearly. You went with this with the Cavs. Is this okay? Okay. Are the Lakers bad because of LeBron though?
No, they're not bad because of LeBron. He's a top 12 player. They're bad.
I mean, so like.
But I thought they had a better roster than they had right now too.
I thought so too. But
who's the guy they signed that's not playing right now? Vincent. Like I feel like he would.
Gabe Vincent.
Like maybe he helps a little bit with the shooting.
I mean,
he's another piece.
He didn't start off great when he.
Yeah, I know,
but he's only played 5 games for him. So
and Austin Reeves is what he is.
He's not had a great start to the year.
I mean, you saw what they can do when they just need to get in the playoffs. That's their thing.
Vanderbilt's working his way back into the lineup,
and they've been healthy,
relatively. Yeah,
AD and LeBron haven't missed too many games this year,
and they still aren't good.
That's my point. Like that's got to be kind of scary if you're
AD's having
that's like the Warriors. Like I'm kind of scared. Like everybody's like, well, Draymond's this. And at this point, they're 4-9 with him anyway. So it's not like, and that's where, to me, the Lakers are at a weird spot. Like, they both desperately, if they're going to win, they need like a game-changing trade. Like, this is like old school trade where you're trading for, like back in the day, like a Mutombo for the Sixers. Like, somebody that peak is going to take you to a different level. Like, I don't think Siakam does that for the Warriors if they trade like Wiggins. I don't think he takes them over the top because we saw last night they need somebody that's going to give them a little bit more offense too. And I don't know if Siakam's the guy that you're just going to ISO at times or feel confident. Like, are you feeling more confident with Siakam than Wiggins? I guess a little bit more, but it's not like a crazy difference. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. Well, based on this year, it is, but probably usually no.
He's only got 2 years left too. Wiggins has 4. I mean, there is some things to think about it with. I don't think they trade the pay. You would trade 3 guys for 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said the Nets one would be ideal. You get Bridges.
Well, yeah, if you could get Bridges, that's
the big one for me is getting Claxton. You need somebody with size. That's what they need. They need like that guy.
But I feel like Bridges comes in and he could be your number 2 behind Steph. That's pretty legit in my opinion.
I wouldn't hate that very much. So
I mean, I'm the same guy who was trying to trade Garland last week for Bridges. So yeah, I mean, I get it.
So Warriors, Lakers both kind of sitting in that low. The Warriors out of it.
That's
Lakers
fine.
in that 10 seed, I think. In that 10 seed right now, as we said, right. The Warriors are 11, Lakers 10, right? 17 and 18.
Yeah.
So both teams not playing very well. Like I said, little woes there along the way.
Luckily, you guys got the Pistons tonight to jump back in that spot.
Got the Pistons. I got the game up right here. They're at 46-37, second quarter right now. Live check in with it. Kuminga 11 points, 4 for 6. A lot of talk after the game about Kuminga being traded. A lot of things through the media. Kerr had comments saying he's always available. So obviously it's something that kind of probably irritated him a little bit. Definitely a game you could not lose if you're the Warriors. Cannot lose a game like this at all. Sarge 12 points as well. For the Warriors, we get early. Some of the other games going on. Lakers up by 10 over the Memphis, 45-35. Phoenix beating Miami by over 18. Orlando took the lead. They took a lead over Denver. They're up 103,
nice.
102 with about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter there. So a game to keep a check on here. Dallas blew out Portland, and Minnesota blew out Houston there. That's my sports if you're watching there with it. So a little update there on the Friday night games. That's the one thing fun about doing the Friday night games. It's like when I do the Sunday night talking the gridiron. We have like the Sunday night game going live, so it's kind of fun checking in on the games here as we do it. So Warriors lose heartbreak fashion. A lot of question marks along the way still, even if they win tonight versus the Pistons. Kerr, I don't think there's a world where he does get fired. I don't think Mike Dunleavy would have the guts to do that his first year as the GM. We'll see. Maybe next year something like this happens. I think we're having a different conversation with that. Lakers, Darvin Ham, you don't have the same leash. You have LeBron on your team.
Right.
And he has proven a year in a year, there's a short leaf with coaches. If he doesn't believe in you, you might be gone. So that's just the way it is. So we'll see what happens there. But LeBron's in a tricky situation because isn't he a free agent next year too? So
he has a player option.
So he could always leave too if he wants as well. So hey, did you see the other game before that? Victor versus the Freak?
Yeah, that was so.
It's kind of must see TV, right? For a regular season game.
What are your thoughts on the way Pop handles this though?
With the minutes you're talking
about?
The
way he handles Wemby. Because Wemby will do about 4 things you've never seen in a basketball game before, and then he'll go sit for 3 or 4 minutes.
Did you know they were on a minutes restriction, though? I'm just saying, did you know that?
For what reason?
What, wasn't he missing games for like a knee or something like that? Like he was on it. Like I knew he was on that restriction with it. I'm kind of agreeing with you. Like,
but this is the same it's always looked, though.
San Antonio's always done this crap.
I know,
They've always done this, and it's weak.
You call it a minutes restriction, but this is the same way it looked in game 1.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's holding him back in some regards. I thought it was one of those games, though, that we'll look back on, Doug, like kind of like how we look back on Shaq and Yao, maybe, and like other rookie versus veteran matchups. Like, I don't know. This felt like a big deal when I was watching it. Like, I think I caught it about middle of the second quarter, and I couldn't turn it off. Like, it felt like a big deal watching it. I don't know why. It's just like, and the Spurs aren't that exciting to watch if you've watched them play other teams. And Victor has obviously been good, but it just, maybe it was the TNT thing, the Thursday night being only 2 games last night. It was Giannis. versus the Greek versus Victor, but them kind of being similar in some regards.
Yeah,
I don't know. It lived up to the hype. I couldn't turn it off.
That end of the game, that fourth quarter was really, really must-see TV. That play where Giannis shoulder checked Wemby and he still blocked him at the rim is one
Only
of the plays.
He blocks that shot.
That's one of the most incredible plays you'll see from a player trying to guard Giannis one-on-one. I have a problem with my 20-year-old first overall pick only playing 29 minutes a game. I don't love it. I know if he's on an injury thing, sure, but that looks the same exact way it looked in game 1. It looks the same way it looked in game 5. Chris Paul should have went to the Spurs. He would have helped Wemby out a lot.
No, I agree. Real quick, I just want to get to this. LeBron calls the shots.
Yeah.
I agree. He does. He's out there. Wemby did hurt his ankle in Dallas and couldn't play. San Antonio needs Cade because their point guards are not good. And Wemby ran. That's kind of what as we kind of talk about this game, because it felt like a big deal to me. Like I said, like as a history guy with sports, like I've watched like other. And this felt like it just felt like a big game. You knew for Victor it really mattered. You could sense it, and I think for Giannis, you could sense it with the 44 points. And one of the things that makes him so good now outside the other players is that his care factor, it feels different than a lot of players. Like he doesn't go through the motions at all. Like he's out there to like take you, like it's a finals game for him. Like it felt like it for him in some ways. And when he got blocked, that you could tell he was a little shocked. It reminded me a lot of when Yao blocked Shaq on his first one. Like it was like
I remember that play. That play was incredible.
Yeah, but it was like that first thing, like where where you're like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen. Like
when Yao blocked Shaq, I was like, is it pot? Could he be better than Shaq? Like, it's just like a thing. Like, is it possible for another human being to be better than this? But you know what I liked about last night was Giannis got 44, but he didn't shoot 20 free throws. He did it on 6 free throws.
He was awesome last night.
Like that was one of his better games, in my opinion, because he didn't need 15 or 20 free throws to get the 44.
How electric with Victor though?
God, that guy's so
behind
fun.
the back.
5 blocks,
steal. 26 minutes.
10 of 18 and 27 points in 26 minutes.
Vessel showed up with 34.
I don't like that. I don't like. I don't like. He showed up last night. I don't like what they've got around Wemby at all.
Well, so what do they do next? What's the Spurs' next move? Like they trade for Chris Paul. I mean, do they need a point guard with it?
Could you package Vassell, Sochan, and Keldon Johnson for a superstar?
Like, do they trade with Detroit? Is that where maybe these? That was the one thing, and we'll get into a little bit that OG trade. I like the player for player thing there. It kind of reminded me of those old 90s, early 2000 trades where you had some good player for player trades, not just picks involved. And I'd be curious, is that a team like the Spurs could trade with some of their guards for the Spurs, like a Big Dare or something like that, or I feel like Detroit can't give up on Cade, so I just don't feel like that's an option yet. But maybe there's a world where Ivy gets traded. I don't know. Maybe there's a world where he goes.
Yeah, but he's not as good as Vassell right now.
I don't know. I wouldn't trade Vassell for him, but I don't think that you're getting much for him.
That's what I mean is you got to package Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and Sochan and try to get a superstar. I don't because this next draft isn't loaded, and we'll get into it.
But they need a point guard. They need a point guard.
What point guard? What point guards?
I don't know.
What point guard's available that moves the needle? I think Chris Paul helps Wemby a lot.
Maybe that's the one they make the move. But the Warriors trade that for Chris Paul. Chris Paul be so pissed.
You get Trey Jones. You get Trey Jones, Cedi Osman.
Who's the ref that he hates too? Chris Paul.
I can see it.
Scott Foster.
His slick back silver hair. Yeah,
it's Scott Foster, I think.
Yeah, it's Scott Foster.
That'd be funny if he gets traded to the Spurs in the very first game. Scott Foster's doing it again.
You thought you could escape?
I'm just saying, Doug, this is one that you'll see 8 years from now. You'll see on an NBA replay of a Bucks instant classic or a Spurs classic. It was a big deal. It really was. If you're an hardcore NBA fan, that was a great matchup between Victor and Giannis last night, and they both showed up. The crowd, it was just a good game. So I thought I was very thoroughly impressed as just an outsider who really doesn't even really care about the Spurs that much ever. But I thought they showed up last night for sure in that game. So that was kind of like hitting some of the games last night with the Warriors and the bank shot, the Victor games last night. All right, we'll keep it moving here. Some of the other things that kind of arrived this week. The big three, they've arrived. No, they beat Atlanta, but then they lose to the Hawks. And then tonight, who they lose to, I got it up there. I can't think of it off the top of my head. They lost to the Nets tonight. So they show up. They beat Boston, right? At home. You think it's a big deal that they lose the next two? I still think ultimately it's a big deal that they beat Boston more than the losses to the Hawks and Nets matter overall. I think that win against Boston shows much more. Obviously we could see how the next 10 games play out. They get a huge losing streak, but those are. I mean. The idea that I think SGA has surprised me the most. Like he really has. The Clippers, I didn't even see this when they traded for. I just didn't see that type of. Yeah. He can get to any spot now. He can hit any shot in the mid range. He's not going to get the ball taken from him. I don't know. He's just a way better player than I call him like a Reggie Jackson on steroids, because that Reggie Jackson's herky jerky like that, but like he can't shoot like he can like. And he just that's what he reminds me of, like a guy that can just get to any spot, anytime, makes it. And then Chet has fully arrived. He hasn't fully arrived, but he has arrived to where they're a threat to me, like I've told you. And then you got Jaden Williams, another guy out of Santa Clara here, him and Pod, shout out there, a couple hours away here. He looks to be the real. That's a formidable big three, and then we're not even talking like Giddey and other guys off the bench as well. So I don't know. What do you think of that big three? And then as you kind of answer that, I also pose the question here: should they go all in a little bit more?
Well, I don't think any big three starts without Lou Dort, but based on what the big three you've said, I mean, Jalen Williams,
Dort, come on, Jaden Williams is better than Lou.
Jalen Williams from Santa Clara, like you mentioned, he's averaging 18 this year, 4 and 4 on 53% shooting. What a nice leap for him.
Getting him and Chet in the first round is going to be legendary for them.
I mean, that's he went 12 in that draft. That's a steal.
Yeah,
getting him at 12. Like you mentioned, Chet been fantastic, just fantastic. His game all around is just awesome. 41% from three, 17 a game. He gets you the 7.5 rebounds. People were worried about his size. His size hasn't been an issue. He's a phenomenal shot blocker. He's got great timing.
And his clutchness in the fourth quarter. Yeah, he hasn't been afraid. He killed the Warriors twice this year.
Those guys turn it up in the fourth quarter. What player could they add to take them over the top for you?
LeBron. No, I was kidding. LeBron. You say I'm just saying LeBron. Yeah, maybe go there.
I mean, yeah, I think LeBron. Yes, probably could be the guy.
I think. Would you go in? I think they need more size. I would say, you got to give Chet a little help. So can we give Chet Can we somehow find a world to give Chet a little help along the way? And so, I don't know. Maybe it's Utah out there. That's the team they find out there. Washington. We've talked about some of their players available.
So if they trade the other Williams, a couple other guys, maybe probably have to throw Giddey in there. Williams, Giddey, and a pick.
I'm sure they'd be happy to throw Giddey in the trade.
I know, but they trade those guys for Lauri Markkanen.
Well, that's another trade where you're adding this. That's what I'm saying. Those are the type of moves they should be trying to make right now, I feel like.
But I mean, does that move put them over the top for you? A Lauri Markkanen. If they don't lose too much.
I think it can put them over the top of Denver.
3-0 in the OG era. How about Julius Randle building a house tonight?
Oh, OJ. He's getting Brunson was unreal. Now my guy CP. What's up? I was my guy CP.
That guy's a damn bucket.
Yeah, the OG. Brunson was unreal tonight. CP, you always know this. Mad respect for you, man. You always working, grinding it out there. I did a baseball pod. We talked about your Mets a little bit. Snell out there.
OG and Randall combined 4 of 22 tonight. What a game. What a team.
What do you? I actually kind of said that. We'll get back to maybe chat here in a second. But if I got CP out here, let me go to it right away. I do have it. It was next on my list, anyways. I love OG to the New York Knicks. I said to me, he fits just the Thibodeau thing of where I need to play a center all the time. Like, he's got Taj Gibson out there. He just has to have this guy, the big guy out there playing defense. And then I don't hate it for the Raptors either.
I don't hate it either.
Eric kind of showed some signs. Maybe that they end up. He kind of is what he is. I feel like as a player, I think he'd be better as a six man. Some along the at the end of the day, but quickly, I think he gets his own team. We'll see what happens there. But I think it's great for the Knicks. They get that, and maybe they get that opportunity to get your boy Mitchell down the line. But he fits what they need. They need a wing that can play defense to go along with Brunson, who's a smaller guard. Yep. And you're going to have to guard guys like Jaylen Brown, and you're going to have to guard guys like Jason Tatum in the playoffs. And OG gives you a chance in that regard. So I don't know. That's what it is. Try to telling Tyler that like, he still wanted RJ. My Tyler loves RJ. Who's the other guy?
Really?
He loves
RJ Barrett.
He liked RJ, but there was the other guy he believed in more. I think he played for the Knicks too for a little bit. He went to Duke as well. Cam Reddish, that's who it was.
Oh,
he loved himself some Cam Reddish for a little bit. He loved himself. So Tyler, he's going out to Disneyland this weekend. Shout out to you.
The Warrior. What I posted the thing about a Diet Coke from McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah.
And I said something to Tyler about celebrating like a Warriors, Arizona loss all in one, like a 49ers loss. I go get a Diet Coke. And then you guys lost on that game winner, and I sent him a Diet Coke meme.
Oh, gosh. I think he one of these times, maybe he's afraid to come on with you, Doug. Maybe
why?
I don't know.
Him and I go back and forth all the time. It's fantastic.
OG is a classic Tibbs player. He really is.
He
fits that system, and that's the reason why I was like, people are like, well, I'm hesitant because OG's not going to be this. He's not. He is. I mean, all right. If you're a Knicks fan, you're expecting him to carry you on offense, then you're not getting the player.
No, not that player.
But he's like, he's just a Swiss Army knife a little bit that you need on your team. He's going to give you a little bit what you need. Like tonight, he didn't shoot unreal. He only ended up with 11 points, but he gives you what you want in defense. He gives you that energy. He's guarding the best players. Yep. And it's the little details. Like tonight, keeping the ball out of Maxi's hand at a moment, like when they didn't need it. Like just little things like that if you're not watching the game, you're not going to notice. Like just little details like, okay, there's the end of the shot clock. They're trying to get the ball to their best player, but you keep the ball out of that guy's hand. That's what I all think with it. So I don't know. You remember you all were tanking duos before. Where would you rank Julius and Brunson now if you could change them at all? All right, I would say the duos. I did not think they were one of the best duos. They maybe are starting to creep.
No, come on.
I think for us, I think Randall, for that to be a legit duo for us, for me anyways. I'll speak for me. Is I still question CP. I question Randall's consistency. That's what I actually at this point. Brunson I've kind of fell in love with a little bit. Like his
fantastic
his footwork, like all those little things. He's the type of player. I just question Randall's consistency. If he can get that together, his offensive bag is really good. It is legit. But can his shot selection get better?
That's his problem.
And those are the things. But we'll see. Can OG and maybe they get Robinson back later? Does that defense offset some of that ability? But they definitely have to get ranked a little higher in the duo now than we did way back a few weeks ago. We were talking about it. There's no doubt about it.
That's because Brunson's been so good. I think we're
Randall's been good too.
I mean, yeah, but Brunson's playing like a top.
He is a Randall Homer. I've watched the show enough to know he's a Randall Homer.
I mean, but you know what I like about this trade though is I like Dante DiVincenzo getting minutes. I've always liked Dante DiVincenzo, and I think anytime
I liked him on the Warriors last year.
I know, but I think anytime he can get on the floor, he's always making something good happen. He's always got his nose in the game. He's always making a dive on the floor, tipping out a loose ball. He's always doing something to help you win, and I like that he's getting minutes now after this trade. I think that helps.
They crushed the Sixers tonight too.
They look great tonight.
Crushed them.
I mean,
they not even like a real game. The one guy I like on them is Hartenstein. Like that's the guy. I don't know. There's certain players where you're like, I was like, I'd love to coach that guy. Like he's not the best player, but you just trust him every time he's out on the court.
Yeah.
If I was a Knicks fan and he was out there, I would feel good. I'm not saying I'm sure he pisses you off at times too, but every time I watch him, I'm just always like, he just seems to make a play. He's in the right spot. He's competitive. I don't know. I Mitchell Robinson I like for his offensive rebounding. I know he's a tough guy for that too, but I like Hartenstein a lot. I would love to have him on my team if I was rooting for them. So
I mean,
I'm sure if you're a Knicks fan, you love him out there.
Hartenstein played like Bill Walton against the Cavs in the playoffs.
Is that the Will? And who's the guy? Precious. I thought Precious. Maybe a little sneak peek there out of Memphis.
Bill Walton, sorry. But yeah,
I always liked Precious in college. I always thought he was going to be a little better.
Those Memphis guys, they'll fool you.
Yeah, but he always kind of reminded me of. I thought he was going to be a little bit more like Kenneth Faried. I thought a little bit. That's why I thought he was going to be a little bit, but he hasn't turned into that kind of
the mammal.
So CP, your Knicks out there, keep up the good work on the content.
The Knicks look good.
I'll even be tuning into your Giants shows, of course, during the offseason, and the Mets always there with it too. So I got to get you all from my Mets ones for the baseball one here shortly. So appreciate you guys tuning in to the show and commenting in. It always makes it a good time with it. Again, I'm a big fan, and I kind of like it for the Raptors too, though. I like the idea that they traded for players, not picks from the Knicks. There's we'll take Quickly. Because Quickly's not bad at all. He gets his own team.
Good.
That's kind of why my idea with Kuminga to the Raptors. I kind of like them just building this young core a little bit now again with him, Kuminga, that type of deal. And Barrett, like I said, I don't think Barrett ends up on the Raptors long term, but I think Quickly's the guy they really are banking on this trade.
Where does Barrett need to go to be successful? Is there a team that he can go to where his game's just going to fit? Maybe
it is Toronto. Who knows?
Maybe it is because. I mean, he used to, coming from Canada and that kind of stuff. Maybe that is a comfort spot for him.
You know what the easy answer is? It's the Pacers.
Where you can go and just shoot and you don't have to worry about defense.
Yeah, that's the easy answer right now. Just go to the Pacers and play. I think the Raptors isn't a bad spot.
I think the Raptors is a good spot for him.
I'm
and then I like the fact that Quickly gets to start for the Raptors now, and he's got his own. This is kind of his own team now. Yeah. And Schroeder, can slide to the bench. That's a good player off the bench. Yeah. I think it looks good for the Raptors. I mean, they're down 20 to the Kings, but you and I are pretty high on the Kings ourselves. So
that's not. I mean, they lost to the Pistons too right away too. I'm not saying they're going to win.
That's a right after the trade type thing.
Yeah, we'll give it a little time here. I feel like they're going to be more of a second half team that steals wins that way. Talked about OKC. We talked about OKC Big Three there. Kind of put a bow on that just real quick. I had the New York guys on there. Wanted to touch on that, of course, while they were on. Appreciate you guys commenting on that. Stay with us for the rest of the show. I want to see if you can get the NBA trivia quest. Doug has one for me. I have one for him. Love the NBA trivia here. I think I got a hard one for you this week, so let's see if you can get it this week. All right, so yeah, Chet, Jaden, OKC Big Three. They played well. They beat Boston. Got into that. My last thing here before you get to question of the week. I mean, we got to respect the Clippers climbing. And the one thing I saw this week, I had it on my I had to even bookmark it, was what are they? The Clippers, something like 13-7 or something like that when Westbrook's off the bench. Let me look at it. I want to make sure.
I think it's better than 13-7.
No, it's definitely better than 13-7. I just want to make sure I get it right here. Yeah, they've been great with him off the bench. Yeah. So I just feel like since they've added him on the bench, that's why I said I think the Warriors need to do is they need to get him on the bench is to get Green and Clay on the bench. But ever since the Westbrook has gone on the bench, I think it was they're I want to say they were 11-2, something like that.
Yeah, they're playing great basketball.
My point is they figured it out. They got quiet. Harden's kind of figured it out. And like I said, there's the West. I trust that we say we've been playing the game. Well, who do you trust more? Thunder, T-Wolves, and I forget the other team you had in there at the time, but the reality is the Clippers, they have the best players in terms of what do you call it? Back of the card. Their players, you're looking at the back of the card, their players have the best stats. And so my point is they're right there with it. And Ty Lue's not a bad coach. I saw that firsthand versus the Warriors. You know that as a Cavs fan. He can get the job done. 3-7 with him starting. That's what it is. Thank you. I forget the road. They're much better with him, obviously, the bench line. That's why I was saying I think that's what they need to do. Back to my Warriors thing there with it. But I don't know. Back to the Clippers here. Doug, I felt like I had to mention them here with it because I feel like I'm underestimating them being the possibility of them coming out of the West. And I always take the Clippers not serious. Maybe I need to take them more serious.
I think we do too. I'm with you on that. I think The health's been good. Kawhi's playing 35 minutes a game. He's started every game he's played in this year.
That's scary, kind of, huh?
Paul George he's started every game he's played in this year. He's 30. He's playing 35 minutes a game also.
Yep.
Those two guys, and now you give them Harden. This is good. This is a team that could make a run. I would be worried. I wouldn't go out and like start finger pointing and things like that if I'm a Clippers fan just because of the health history. But I think quietly I would be very excited about my prospects going forward with this team. Question for you now that I've looked at the Clippers roster. Who is your favorite? Hey, this guy's going to be a role player no matter what. He's been a role player his whole career. Who's your favorite role player in the NBA?
Doug, first of all, you're not allowed to look at the roster. You have to know that roster in and out here, my friend. That is not a favorite role player in the NBA. That's a good call right there.
Yeah, like if you could think of one right now, I'll give you mine. Mine's Norman Powell. I love Norman Powell's game.
He's a good one. He's a good player. I'm trying to think.
26 minutes a game, 13 points, an assist. Okay,
I got one for you. He's not the most. I got one for you. And this is just because it's Jose Alvarado for me. Like honestly, he's my hero. I love Jose Alvarado. He's my inner open gym spirit. He is
You're just not, so you're out there. You're picking up 94 feet in open gym.
I used to be the dick. I used to be not anymore. I used to be the dick though out there about 5 years. Like that would be like. I'd be out there full court and trying to stay in shape, trying to do all that. Yes, I was. Not maybe talking trash so much, but I definitely played defense on you harder than most people did in open gym. I'm sure my brother can attest to that. But yeah, Jose Alvarado is my favorite bench player in the league. He really is. That play he had against the Lakers last week where he stole it from LeBron from behind. And what was the guy, Prince? Like, I loved it. He's like, he looks at the guy and he's like, or he kind of yells at like, there he is. And then he still runs past Prince and then steals it from LeBron. And LeBron's like, you got to let me know. But it was kind of funny because Prince was able to pick it up because he does that. And to me, I love guys that have unique things like that.
It's like a niche. It's like his niche type thing.
Yeah, it's just like a unique skill that very much. Terrence Mann. I love myself some Terrence Mann, just by the way.
Terrence Mann's a good one too.
One time I was looking at the OKC roster a few weeks ago and I saw T-Man. I was like, they have I was like, how the heck did they get Terrence Mann? I was like, they're stacked. It was like Ty Man or something, but I was like, all right, that's not the same guy. I thought for a second. But no, they should have it. But that was kind of my funny story with that. But I think Westbrook off the bench to kind of put a little bow on that with the Clippers. They're really making a run here. I've been impressed with it. Nuggets take the lead here late, though, on the Magic. Magic were ahead 118-116. Nuggets have took the lead 120-119. Warriors up 4. Memphis made it a 1-point game here at halftime with the Lakers. So a few good games going on here with the two. We'll keep you updated on those games as we finish it out here on the show here on Variety Sports Network, the Double Double podcast here. Doug Stevens, Daren Breyer here with you. Doug, like I said, it's always easy to talk NBA. We're 50 minutes in, and I feel like we could go another couple hours if we wanted to. But for the people here, we'll make it a little bit shorter. We'll go about another 25 minutes with you here on the show. We talked to OG with it. We talked Clippers climbing. Talked about listening. Let me get to the question of the week with you. I think we kind of touched on it a little bit. Who are some of the players that we would like to see traded that were on some of the other teams right now? Even if we're kind of just, I don't know, maybe faking some of the trades, in an ideal world, we're kind of looking at do the Bulls is Levine and DeRozan legitimate trade candidates? Should they, I feel like the Kings, let's say they get DeRozan, does that help? I feel like, and there's talk with them they're out of the Siakam trade. I feel like the Kings, my guy Savage, who I respect a lot, he said they need a big, and they do need a big for Sabonis, but I don't trust their wings enough either with Barnes. So I don't know, is there any dream trades you maybe would like to see some too? I think the Bulls could be involved.
You want these ones to be realistic?
I mean, either way. I mean, obviously they can't be completely fake. There has to be some salary.
Yeah. I would like to see the Kings get a small forward, a legitimate small forward. If I was the Kings, I would make and this is a guy me and you have talked about quite a bit now. I would make a legitimate hard run at Mikal Bridges to bring him over to pair with Fox and Sabonis. He's a guy we've talked about a lot. If you have to trade some of your younger guys to get him, I understand. But that's a guy I would make a serious run at if I was the Kings, to try to level up to, match the Nuggets and some of these other teams. Team in the East that I think needs to make a move to try to, stay in line with some of these other teams. I think I like what the Knicks have done already. I think that's a good move. I think the Magic need to make a move for another guy who could really help them. Franz and Paulo are good, but I don't think they get you over the top. In my opinion, they need another legitimate scorer to help them out. Maybe an upgrade at the point guard position could help them. So those are two teams that I think are needing to make a move.
The thing with the Magic that's interesting, we've talked about them in depth before, was they have Black, they have Anthony, they have Suggs at the guard spot. So it'd be interesting what they do if they did make a trade there going forward with it. Those are some good ones. Though the Magic, I think, do need a trade though, definitely. The Suns, will see if they've won a couple. They won a couple games here lately, so they're sitting at the 8th seed right now. The Pelicans, we'll see what they do at the deadline. The Grizzlies would be an interesting one to me. If they wanted to make trades, they could. Yeah. They have the players out there that people would want if they wanted to make a few guys available. So I'm not saying they will do that. I'm just saying, sitting where they're at the division, if they wanted to, I feel like they could make. I feel like the Grizzlies could throw some trades out there that would surprise people. That all right, we're willing to give up. Maybe it's Clark coming off an injury, or even like Williams, something like that. So maybe they're willing to trade some of those guys. Or the shooter I can't think of right now, Levine. So maybe they trade some of those guys here moving forward. So that'd be interesting to me with some of those deals. We'll see going forward with that. So that's our question of the week, brought to you by Row One Brand.
Well, I'm trying to think like a team that really needs somebody, like Dallas, but Dallas doesn't have any pieces. They don't have anybody to trade.
That's the thing is like where's some of the world, like, and that's why I said I think the Jazz, the Grizzlies, like those guys are the trade candidates, I feel like, where they have the most talent. Yeah. And then you look at the Bulls and you look at the Raptors. And then maybe you say, okay, well, the Hornets, does Rozier get traded somewhere? Like, I feel like he maybe could help somebody. Like, even as a Warriors fan, I wouldn't mind getting Terry Rozier.
Yeah, there's some buckets off the bench.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to take us over the top, but like you need scoring, and he'll give you that off the bench. And so I think he could help somebody. So I think those type of players would. Kuzma, does he get traded? Does Kuzma get traded?
There's some guys out there who can help teams, but the teams that need to make a move that are right on the cusp, I don't know what they give up to get that guy without maybe losing a little bit of what they've already built. That's what I mean. Is Dallas is an example. Dallas doesn't have anybody, but they're probably a player away from legitimately being. One of those.
I feel like they would be a Levine. Like that's the team that to me where they get a third.
Do you think? I don't know if Levine could survive with Kyrie and Luka.
How do you not survive with guys that take less pressure off you?
But the guy shoots. He likes to score.
Yeah, and I think that's sometimes unfair criticism, and I've learned that mistake.
When is he not?
I don't know.
It didn't. He couldn't handle playing with Towns and Wiggins. He couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle sharing with them.
Does Collins get traded again? Maybe. Does John Collins get traded again?
Shit. I thought Utah would be better. I really did. I thought Utah would
every year, right? He's in trade talks everywhere. John Collins talked about him. I marketed. You sent me that tweet this week. He would be. Gosh, I feel like Sexton. There's a chance he goes somewhere on a.
He would be nice. He'd be a nice addition. Jordan Clarkson would be a nice addition for somebody.
Like the Bucks getting Sexton or something like that to go with Lillard.
Yeah. To put just some added buckets off the bench, that would be huge for a team. Jordan Clarkson would be a great addition as a sixth man on a contender. Lauri Markkanen would be a hell of a starter on a team that's a contender looking to be a championship contender.
I love playing GM. I love doing it. I love playing. I love telling people where they should go. They should. These are the type of things that should happen. And like when February comes, we'll have a lot to get into with it. There's a lot of trades that are possible this year. Like that's the exciting thing about this deadline is like, and if somebody wants to make the move, like I know LeBron won't happen, but like I feel like some of those things would be fun to see. The Hawks, like, does Murray go? I don't think Young's going, but like maybe Murray gets traded in a deal. Like, it's probably
who needs a point guard?
Well, we just talked about your Spurs. Back to the Spurs.
Oh, he goes back to San Antonio.
I'm just kidding. Back to the Spurs there. That would be nice. I bet Papa wishes he kept him now after he did Victor in the.
I mean, deal. he tried to do Murray a favor by moving him, but then he sent him to Atlanta, and Atlanta's not a favor, I don't think.
Oh, I just got to update you real quick here.
Nuggets
Magic ended up winning 122.
Wow, that's a nice win for the Magic.
122-120. Over the Nuggets. I mean, I know the Nuggets are coming off a game last night, but Banchero hit 2 free throws with 9 seconds left to give them a 2-point lead. They hold up. Murray misses a 2-point jump shot to tie it up there with it. So Nuggets, Nico, far into the bench. Take that. No, I'm just kidding.
Paulo, 32, 11, and 10.
He's been great lately, too.
What a game for him. I saw, man, that's a hell of a game for him.
He's been awesome. And Memphis
he's got a lot of talent.
Dude, I think we've talked Orlando's they're on their way right now. They're definitely they're contenders. I think not
if they make a move. They've got to make a move.
Okay, they're not contenders in terms of I don't feel like they're
not championship contenders now.
But I feel like they are right there. We did that. I think I put more research into that segment than any segment this year on Double Double. Like I honestly think that Magic, I looked at their roster so deep. I think they have I love both the Wagner guys. I love Banchero. I've always been a Suggs guy. Like even at Gonzaga, I just like the way you just give me that DNA. I'll take that anytime playing. And I never was a huge Anthony guy, but I've actually got to be honest. I've actually kind of liked him a lot more than I did 2 years ago. I actually now watching more Magic games, he does play a huge role on their team this year. Like I said that with them. And then they got the Isaac back, who he blocks a lot of shots. They have the other backup center. I can't think of his name. He's played pretty well for them too.
Giga BDDs.
Yeah, and so I just feel like they got a little mojo going. So can they beat them? Can they beat Philadelphia? I don't think so. Can they beat Boston? I don't think so. Can they beat Milwaukee? No, but I think they could beat the Heat, Pacers, Cavs, Knicks. I think they could beat any of those teams.
Whoa.
I'm not saying they would, but I'm not saying the other
teams. The Cavs in there is where I draw the line.
The Cavs are
no, I mean I think anybody but the top 3 they're competitive with in a series.
Yeah, I think they're right there with. I think there's a chance.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is completely fair. I would like to see them try to upgrade their point guard position.
Who they get, man?
That's what I mean. Is it's tough out there.
We'll see.
It's very tough. You might be.
Who's the guy on the Wizards that got traded from the Grizzlies? Ty Jones,
one of the Jones brothers.
Yeah, I know he makes a lot of money. Ty Jones, I know he makes a lot of money though, so he probably would be out of the thing. He'd be a point guard there. I was thinking that maybe they would get.
Yeah, but is he an upgrade over Fultz? Do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Fultz should. I think he can shoot at least a little bit. He can shoot a 3. Ty Jones, we know that.
That's true. That's a tough one. I feel like they're just missing a piece. They're like a piece away from being the top 5-4 in the East.
So they end up winning though. Breaking news here.
That's a nice win. That's a big win.
Great win with it. So like you said, maybe some blowouts here along the way. I know
a couple close ones to close out the night.
NBA League Pass. I won't be watching a lot of these games, it looks like, but maybe I'll be checking in on that Orlando game later. Just a couple other games here. Like I said, Memphis down by 1 now to the Lakers, 8:25 left. The Warriors up 8, only on Detroit with about 8 minutes left here in the third quarter here. So a lot to be played here still. What's Kuminga got now? Still 11 points. So I thought maybe you have a little bit more.
Kerr said, yeah, and Kuminga doesn't know why. Kuminga doesn't know why he got taken out of the game.
I know this week. All right, we're going to skip standings check this week. We kind of talked about that a lot.
We touched on it a little bit, yeah.
Yep, news and notes here. Cavs trade Mitchell. I just kind of brought it up as a little topic. It looks like no. Cavs to me are one of the interesting teams, though. We didn't touch on a lot, but I think next week I'm going to get more into your squad a little bit more.
Yeah,
I have some notes on them, but I think next week will be a big week for them, looking at the schedule and kind of see how they play out. Because the Mitchell piece is so interesting with this OG trade. It's kind of like, well, now Mitchell's going to go there. I don't know. Like,
I don't know if the money works anymore.
It's such a lame duck feeling if you're a Cavs fan, like with Mitchell there a little bit. So I don't know. Like, you're 20-15. It really feels like you can't trade him because, I mean, you're in the playoffs. You can't trade the guy, but it feels like the Cavs have always been like, at best in my lifetime without LeBron, is at best they're like a 4 or 5 seed, like, you know, Kemp back in the day.
That's our ceiling.
Terrell Brandon, like back in the day. Like those are like your seeds that they used to get. So I had them as my news and notes.
Daren, real quick, we're a half game. We're a half game out of the 4 seed, though. I mean, we're right there.
You feel like what trade are you making? Why aren't you guys making a trade then to go all in this year? If Mitchell's gone after this year, why aren't you just saying, screw it, we're going all in? Why aren't we getting the guy, you know, why aren't we going to Toronto for these trades? Like, why aren't you guys making these big deals? Like, you just don't have the pieces?
Where do you play those guys? Who do you replace?
You guys are stacked.
Yeah, but I mean, are you gonna go out and get a 4 to replace Mobley? I don't think so.
No, but I'm just saying, like, is he taking over the top?
Who can we get to replace Garland for Garland? You know what I mean? Like, the only trades are you have to stack 2 of those guys together to get a superstar. But what superstar is really available?
Levine's not a superstar, is he?
I wouldn't trade Garland or Mobley for
Ingram. Would be the only guy, but the Pelicans would put them available.
I don't know if I trade Mobley. I might trade Garland for Ingram.
Mobley, he's good, but he does have a ceiling. You can sense it.
But he's still one of the best 5 defensive players in the league.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's probably right there.
I mean, he's right there.
He's right there.
I mean,
so they're not trading anybody this year, but you know you're a lane. Mitchell's gone.
We're stuck. Yeah.
All right. So that's why I think maybe you guys go in. You guys should go all in a little bit more then. Maybe that's
if we could go all in.
Come on, Cleveland. Let's go.
If we could go all in on a guy who we know is going to be on the team.
Who cares even? They're gone anyway. You're losing Mitchell. Just go in on a guy. What are we overthinking here?
But who's the guy You're not going to get anybody who can put you over Boston.
Who's the guy we just talked about on the Raptors? My guy, Siakam. Why are we going out? You know, why aren't we making a trade for Kuzma? Why does he put you over the top?
I would like that. That would be nice.
I don't know. Why aren't you guys making those type of trades? Why aren't you getting Market in if he's available? I mean, get him back. I don't care. Get him. What are we doing? Like,
I don't
you guys
know.
Need to be making a trade. If Mitchell's
I agree.
We should be hitting up Portland. We should be hitting up Memphis for Grant, like possibly in
for
Portland.
Desmond Bain.
Yeah, we got to be hitting Desmond Bain. Yeah, I'm sure Memphis Twitter would go crazy at that.
I agree. We should. Here's the thing.
Memphis
you're not wrong. But every time I try to make a trade scenario, there's 3 reasons why we're not.
Come on, Cavs, wake up! Come on, you can do it. I remember I like the old uniforms. I always would get a kick out of the '90s ones with Sean Kemp and Terrell Brandon,
like the blue and black one.
And always cracked me the 50th anniversary in Cleveland, Ohio All-Star Game. It's funny. Out of all the places we did it, that's where we did it. Cleveland. And somebody gets Dayton, Ohio gets those first ones. Other news and notes: Edwards on fire. We don't have to go on that. He's just been awesome this week. Just had to mention that.
That guy's incredible.
Rubio calls it quits, retires. I remember him just being such a big deal with those Olympics. He really was. He didn't play in 2009, 2010, 2011. Another big deal with him as he was drafted ahead of Steph Curry, as a lot of people know, with Johnny Flynn there. His career it's a solid career, right? Like, played 11 seasons in the league. Never averaged more than 13 points a year.
Yeah, but Daren, when you watched him play on YouTube or his viral videos when he was like 14,
I thought he was gonna be a stud.
But you draft that guy over Steph Curry for sure.
I'm not saying you're not. I'm saying like the hype. I think
I know
happened, but my point is like that's where he was. So a lot of people
the hype for him was
as results, and I kind of want to remind people when you looked at him back then, he was playing against Olympic guys and playing well. He played in the Olympics for the Spain team and did well again and did well for him. So it was not like you thought he was good. And the game kind of changed a little bit when he was in the league because of Steph, where the shooting was a little bit more of a factor from the point guard spot. He just never could consistently be a good 3-point shooter. If you look at his numbers, not terrible, but they just never were good enough to take. And his team wasn't quite good enough to cover some of those weak spots he had. But I said to shout out him a little retirement there after 12-year career, played for Minnesota, Utah, Phoenix, Minnesota, then finished up with your Cavs. Called it quit there. So a little shout out Ricky Rubio. Kind of puts things in perspective. Getting old there, Daren Breyer, getting old. A little bit old. Shaq is going to get his jersey retired with Orlando. I find it interesting. He only played 4 years with Orlando, though. Now, he made the All-Star game with Orlando all 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, this is what he averaged: 23, 29, 29, 26 with them. Obviously, made it to the finals with them, conference many times. Averaged 13 rebounds twice with them. Obviously, and no more than less than 2 blocks every year. So he was a stud with Orlando. But I just find it funny, 4 years. So does he have his jersey retired? I was thinking with LA, with Miami, and now with Orlando. Is that 3 teams?
Did he get it retired in Miami?
I figured he probably will at some point.
Well, I mean, yeah, they won the
title. They retired Tim Hardaway's jersey there.
Yeah, but Tim Hardaway's a street.
Shaq won a championship at least.
The guy's a legend.
Well, Shaq won a championship. Tim Hardaway never won a championship with him.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
And Tim Hardaway played like 5 years with him.
29-13 for the Magic at 21 years old.
One Rookie of the Year. I mean, if you go to Basketball Reference, his Basketball Reference is sick. 15-time All-Star. I mean,
if he could have stretched the floor, Daren, he could play today.
He could play today. He would. I'm sure he'd be just fine.
He would just be. Shaq's just such a freak of a human being. We'll never have the pleasure of seeing another Shaq. Like, we'll never get to have that in our time.
Never will. The NBA will not allow it. The way the players develop will never be allowed. So he gets his jersey retired. All-Star ballots, please. Is there ever going to be a year where LeBron does not win the West and get the draft? So somebody help us out with that. So that Giannis is winning the East.
They've been the captains for the last 4 years, pretty much now.
They have been. And then Doug, last thought here. I want to get into it more as we kind of progress here through the season, but just real quick, we're going a little long here tonight, but not the year to tank. I mean, there are some good players out there in college, and I've actually enjoyed college basketball this year more than I ever have before. But if you look at, and the thing that's disappointing is some of these guys are playing for the G League teams and some of that stuff, which it just takes away from it a little bit too, the excitement of it. But like, there's some solid players out there in college, but nothing like we had the last couple of years. So we'll see. Maybe one of these European guys will surprise us and stuff like that. But a little thin on the NBA docket there. So you're tanking teams. You're not going to have that luxury this year. Just wanted to point that out as we get into February.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the Nikola Topic from Serbia. I've watched a couple of his highlights. He's a guard. He's kind of got that Luka type.
Yeah, I'm not going to get the job done there.
No, but he's kind of got a little bit of that Luka type thing. Alexander Sar, 7.
It's not the hype like you're used to, right?
You don't get as excited about these guys.
That's the thing I miss about the college basketball part of it. Like, I was watching, I know it's lame, but I was watching the 91-92 Duke on HBO. Like, it's just kind of fun. Like, these guys, like Grant Hill played 3 years of college. Like, just the fact that Grant Hill played 3 years of college basketball is insane. Like, the guy would have been out in 1 year easily.
Yeah, no, I mean,
easily would have been gone in 1 year. Shaq played 3 years. How does that? Like, that
the rule different though? Then wasn't the rule different?
I understand what's different. I'm just saying I missed that part of it with that authenticness of it.
Would you do 2 years for college? Would you like that?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe a little baseball part of it wouldn't be bad, where you either go to the draft out of high school or you go to college for 2 years automatically. I think that's to me how baseball is. You have to go 3 years automatically.
You know how many guys would wash out though, unfortunately, from that?
Well, a lot of it happened before too. A lot of these guys, Martell Webster,
right.
Other guys in high school did the same thing. So I think it's good. I think that's the way I would do it if I was. So those are our news and notes this week, NBA edition. All right. It was fun last week doing this part of the show. NBA trivia. Doug, I'm going to give you the first shot at NBA trivia, and then on me this week, and then I have one for you. Now, I think the best way to do it is if I did it with hints for mine again. I give hints, but
yes.
If you don't have that, that's fine. But I say we get one guess, and then we give a hint, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
You go first for me.
You led off last week with a hint of the scoring average. So I'm going to give my first hint. This is I'm trying to figure out how to.
And I need the question, of course.
Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Give me a second. Led the NBA in block shots in 1984 and 85.
1984 and 1985. Okay, Akeem was drafted in 84, but I don't think he would have led it. Kareem, I don't think he would have been able to block enough shots in there. I want to say Ralph Sampson for some reason is the guy I'm leaning.
Is that your first guess?
That is my first guess. I'm gonna say Ralph Sampson.
That would be incorrect. Very good guess though.
All right,
it's not Ralph Sampson.
All right, so
would you like a hint?
Yeah, give me the other hint there.
After a stint in junior college, he attended UCLA.
And he led the league in blocks in 1984 and 1985. Well, that's a good hint, too, if he went to UCLA. I should know who that is then. 1984 and 1985. UCLA center. Oh, I don't know. That's a good – I don't know. I'm going to have to need another hint there.
Okay. Because this is kind of odd. I don't know if it's going to help you or not. He didn't come into the NBA until he was 26 years old.
And he led the league in blocks in 1984 and 1985. That's a good. You got me stumped a little bit. So I'm actually kind of fascinated by that. And UCLA, that's the one that I know Jordan. I know the Likes guy went there, but he didn't go from junior college to UCLA. And in 1984, they weren't winning the championships back then. You got me pretty good on this one.
This one, the reason I've seen this guy more and more is because I 2K and Legends stuff, and just learned about him more through that. So, would you like the next hint?
Yeah, give me the last 10 here. I'll see if I can guess it here.
Also led the NBA in shots blocked in 1986 and 1987. This guy's an all-time shot blocker. All-time great shot blocker.
I don't know. I know Bill Walton obviously isn't the answer, but
nope.
That's the reason I want to think. But the thing that has me stumped is the JC part where he didn't go there from the beginning. That's the part that has me stumped, even for an all-time shot blocker.
It's not going to help me. It's not going to help you me telling you what junior college you went to.
I'm not going to help you. All right, you have to give me the answer. I'm not sure who it is. You got me on this one.
He set the single season record for shots blocked in a season with 5.56. It's Mark Eaton.
Mark, it was funny. Is that the guy that played for the Jazz?
Yes, 10 years for the Jazz.
Okay, I was thinking it might be him, but I couldn't think of the guy's name. He was I was thinking a big white guy for the Jazz, but I couldn't think of his name. I should have just said big white guy for the Jazz.
4-time block champion, 2-time defensive player of the year.
I didn't know he went to UCLA.
5-time all defense, 1-time all-star.
I did not know he went to UCLA. That's a good one. You got me on that one, Doug. All right, I'm 0 for 1 then on that. That was a good one, Doug. I like that. That was a good question there. All right. That was a good one.
I don't know. I feel like
I was thinking big white guy. The
reason I did that one is because that 5.56 blocks I felt like could stick out in your head potentially because that's such a massive number.
No, that is. I was thinking he was one of the guys in the 80s as the centers. I just couldn't think of his name well enough to actually say it out loud. But it did cross my mind. But that was a good one. You got me on that one. All right, let me give you mine here for the week here. All right, Kwame Brown was the first pick overall in the 2001 NBA draft by the Washington Wizards. The player picked second overall went on to have a 19-year career. Would you know who it is? And if not, I'll give you a hint.
Oh, crap. Kwame Brown, and then...
Without looking it up, of course.
No, of course. Kwame Brown went first. Why am I drawing a blank? Go ahead and give me a clue.
All right, hint number 1. He was a 1-time All-Star and made the All-Defense 3 times. So it was he played a 19-year career, was an All-Star, and was an All-Defensive team 3 times in the NBA. So that's my other hint for you there. If you can't get a guess, do that one.
It's not Pau Gasol because he went 3.
He does have a ring. Yes, he does. That will be another clue. He does have a ring. He has 1 ring.
Did he go to the Bulls?
I can't give you that clue, but if you
Shoot, he beat LeBron. Tyson Chandler.
Tyson Chandler is the correct answer. Wasn't very
Tyson
well. Nice,
Chandler.
good job done. It was selected second overall by the Clippers. He was actually a part of the reason the Clippers made that selection. He was part of that Elton Brand trade that sent them to the Clippers. If you remember, Elton Brand was drafted by the Bulls in '99, went to the Clippers there. Chandler was part of that deal. Hit number 2 for you was a one-time defensive player of the year with the Knicks. Was drafted out of high school. My last one was going to be played for the Baby
Bulls.
On
the Baby Bulls.
So I was going to give you that one. So Tyson Chandler was our trivia there with it. That was fun. All right, you got me with Mark Eaton again.
Kwame Brown played 12 years in the NBA. Wow.
Tyson Chandler played 19.
No, I know, but I after you just said it, I pulled up the draft class because Kwame Brown played 12 years.
And that was an interesting draft class because you had Pau Gasol go 3 in that trade. And then you had Eddie Curry, who was the other Baby Bull. He went 4. Curry. And then you had my guy, Jason Richardson, go 5 for the Warriors. So an interesting class. Gasol's the Hall of Famer. Tony Parker's the other Hall of Famer in that class.
Draft, Tony Parker.
Yeah, he played with Kobe, MJ. He also played with Chris Paul. He played with Jason Kidd. He played with a few good players. Played with Carmelo Anthony. He played on a few good teams. It's funny he was with the Bulls there, but he never really had he was just your prototypical lob kind of center at the time. So that was good fun doing the trivia. That will bring you that next week here on the Double as well. All right, this date in NBA history, I like to shout those out as well. January 5th, 1962, a streak, Doug, that will not ever be broken. Wilt Chamberlain. He begins a streak of playing 47 consecutive complete games. Not just games, complete games. So just imagine like a player playing all 48 minutes for 47 straight games. Incredible just to think about that even being the case. So
Thibodeau would die and go to heaven. Thibodeau, just standing ovation every single game. Just
could you imagine? Like it doesn't matter. He's sucking. He's over 20, but we're keeping him in. We got to give it. He's got to play the whole game.
That's a crazy
got that little sad news on this side, but one of my favorite 7th grade PE. Watch that video. Changed my life as a basketball fan. The Pete Maravich movie. He passed away though on January 5th, 1988, playing pickup ball out here in California. Obviously, just one of those players. He just was called his all-time scorer, but just his moves and just all that kind of talk was
passing.
Kind of just something you always kind of thought about as a legendary as a kid, even for somebody for us that never even got to see him play.
Was that a drug thing?
He did have some drug issues there, but I'm not sure that's what it was related. I know he had a heart attack though. That's what it came down to.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't.
I know he did have a little.
I thought that was part of the issue.
It might have been part of the issue with it, but I know he did have. What was his dad's thing when I read his book? It's my favorite. Like, it was something like he said he would like his kid Pete Maravich, he would go outside and he would never allow him to shoot a basketball. And then one time he went outside. He just he wouldn't let him do it. Like he'd want to go out there and he'd be like, nope, you're too young. You're not allowed to play. Like, nope, you're too young. You're not allowed to play. And he left a basketball out by a court, by their backyard, I guess we'll say. Little basketball out there. It was pouring down rain. And he was with his friend talking outside the kitchen window. And he sees Pete walk out the door, pick up the ball and shoot around. And he looks at the guy and he goes, I got him. Fully. Basically meaning he had him. He kind of had him hooked. He had psychologically got him to the point where he was addicted with basketball a little bit. And so I always found that part fascinating, like the time his dad put into that part just to get his son, I don't know, it's kind of a weird kind of thing, obviously, but obviously it worked for him to have an NBA career. But that story to me has always been kind of caught my attention where his dad's like, I got him.
His dad's name was Press Maravich. What a basketball name.
Yeah, I know, Press. Run the press. With LSU, Coach Pete. No wonder he won a lot of plays there. All right, last couple ones here. This one's on NBA TV. If you want to see it, people watched it the other night. Chris Webber got 51 points, 26 rebounds, and a loss, though, for the Jermaine O'Neal Pacers. It was 24 for 47 as well in that game. It was 5 assists, 3 steals. So 47 shots for Chris Webber. Incredible.
That's terrible.
And they only lost. And they what? I mean, it was still over 50.
Yeah, but 51 on 47 shots. That's rough.
Still over 50%.
And they only scored 93 points.
That's the part that cracks me up the most. But Doug, still over 50%. I think you're being a little too harsh on this, but you got that. So there you go, Chris Webber.
Yeah.
over there. So 2001, like I said, NBA TV people, it is out there to watch. Watch the Miss Richmond game winner the other day that they have on there. All right, last one out here. My guy, Tim Thomas. What I got my headband out here. Headband out there,
awesome.
Tim Thomas.
Tim Thomas.
Up here, double headband. 8 3-point attempts in one half. He made them. Broke the record. Still has the record in one half for 3-pointers made out of Villanova. Tim Thomas went to the Sixers. I remember more for the Bucks. Also a little late.
I remember the Bucks.
A little late run with the Suns though, and the Steve Nash Suns had a little push there with them as well.
How many Curry make in the half when he broke the record?
I don't know, but it must not have been an 8. So he had, but he had 14. There's a good chance he hit 7 and 6. And those ones are 7 and 7. So Tim Thomas at that point, 2001, had the record with 3-pointers made in a half. So those are this date in NBA history. All right, Doug, as we kind of wrap it up here on the Double Double podcast, getting close to the hour-and-a-half mark here with it. We've had another good show. A little looking at some of the games. I'm going to look at some of the games going on still right now. 95-94, Warriors, fourth quarter. Sacramento up by 13 with 10:53 left. Lakers up by 3 with about 1:50 left in the third. I'll be tuning that one in after the game here. So a lot of good stuff going on that next week, kind of looking into tomorrow's games as well. Boston, Indiana, that's kind of a decent game looking at that. Yeah, not a bad there. Utah, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Houston. Those are some
Minnesota, Dallas on Sunday, just because we get to see Luka and Ant.
Yep, that kind of wraps up the schedule there. Maybe you'll be watching that over some of the football people. You might be watching that over that too. So get to see that. Memphis at Phoenix. LA Clippers at Lakers as well.
Battle for LA.
Yep, not a bad one there as well. So we get that matchup there with it. Kind of a one like Tuesday, just a random one that I think is kind of a decent game is Minnesota at Orlando. So
yeah, I like that.
So just a couple matchups there to look forward to heading into the week. Be sure to check out some of my guys, 3 the Hard Way. They're doing a podcast on Sunday as well, basketball-wise. We're going to be looking to get some more guests on. I know for some reason I feel like we know a lot of New York guys, so I got to get a New York guy on the podcast. I have a few guys that do some art. I follow on Twitter that do some articles. I want to get them on as well. We talked about the draft a little bit, Doug, as well. We'll get into that too. The trivia part's been fun. You stumped me today with that. That was good stuff there. So a lot of good stuff here on Double Double Podcast. It's been a pleasure doing it since the start of the season with you. As we kind of move through it through January, it's already hard to believe, Doug. We're already at that point with him. We just started in October. So we have kind of been, it's kind of funny. We kind of move our way through it, just like I'm doing Talking the Gridiron. Finish up our last regular season game, our last regular season week on Sunday. It's kind of crazy to think I've been doing it 20 straight weeks there with it. So double. Hopefully the same idea here moving forward as we go through the new year. A lot of good stuff. Trade deadline approaching.
Yep.
And we'll be back with you next week on a Friday as well. So another good show, my friend.
All right, Daren. Hey, appreciate you as always. I tell everybody I come in contact with when I talk about you, literally probably the best setup man that I've seen in the podcast game right now. You always come with it, and appreciate your time. Appreciate doing this with you every week. Just love talking basketball with you, man.
Absolutely. Back at you. And like I said, it's easy to talk basketball when you're talking with people that know what they're talking about. So it's always good that we have that in common. Even if we're Cavs and Warriors fan, we can come together for this. And
rivals from an older time.
Well, yeah, exactly. We'll talk Jimmy Kimmel next week. So we'll do that another time. We'll go another time with it. So
Shot fired. Shot fired at the end of the show.
Jordan, I'll see you next week. Jordan, I'll see you tomorrow. So we got that with it. So hey, Doug, another good show though. This NBA talk. Be sure to tune in some of those other shows I said. Check out the other content here on Variety Sports Network.
Of course,
getting closer to 500 subs. Appreciate anybody that's kind of tuned in with us throughout the year here. All right, Doug Stevens. I'm Daren Breyer. We'll see you next week. Peace.